responsibility. Then that has given a birth to what we are discussing today webinar, and the valuable government has heard his voice, and he was also one of the what you call instrumental in making the whole industry responsible for quality of the product, quality of working, and making us responsible in whatever we do in the pharmaceutical industry. So without taking much of the time, and again, I'll be joining in the later after the what you call before the QA session or after the QA session. So I mean sincerely welcome all of us, and eagerly waiting to welcome Sri Sushant Mahapatra sir, where all of us will be very much able to learn many things. And welcome Sushant sir, and looking forward for your presentation, sir. Please.
Thank you so much. I think my introduction was given out of the turn, and I think expressed to the longest term possible. And thank you for that. But I will say that whatever I am doing, I am learning from you people only. Otherwise, there is no way out. There should be some source. So I think you people are such intelligent people because you are dealing with the pharmaceutical laws. So definitely you are I think you are the most intelligent people. You know, CA, chartered accountants, they deal with finance matters, and scientists do with the science matters, but the pharmaceutical people do with the medicine. Such a difficult area. I have practiced in many areas, but I have never found the much critical area like drugs and cosmetic law and people concerned with the drugs and cosmetic. Vibrant people, brilliant people, intelligent people, and there is no word to say that I can't compare. Mr. Jaggi is there. Jaggi sir, namaste. And I will like to announce one thing. Mr. Jaggi is the person who bring me into drugs and cosmetic law line. I met him in 1998 in his office, and he told me that why not you do something for the pharmaceutical industry. And from that day, he is helping me day out, and I am now today, whatever knowledge I have earned, due to you people, and also credit goes to Mr. Jaggi also. So Jaggi sir, namaste ek baar dobara. Now, coming to the point, so far the responsibility of marketing companies are concerned, what we will see from layman's view is only we can imagine that only the matter that is some 3 or 4 rules have been introduced in the act, in the rules, and so the marketing company was responsible. It is a good start, but I still think that there is a lot of to be done by the central government in this matter to make it more purposeful. Today, I am doubtful whether this amended law will be properly implemented or not. But a good start is there, and it is necessarily for the public interest which has been done. So I don't think it is a negative way, but I think it's a positive way. By this introduction of new rules, definitely the responsibility of marketing companies will increase, and we will see the different market setup and industry, because now India is going to be a pharmacy to the world. And naturally, in India itself, we should have a quality consciousness and responsibility towards the quality. Then only we will be able to prove our metal and name in the world. So this is a small beginning for the improvement of pharmaceutical industry. This should be taken very positively by all the people, maybe the marketing company, maybe the pharmaceutical manufacturer. I don't think there is anything wrong in this act, and is putting any extra burden on the companies, either on the marketing side or on the manufacturing side. Whether it is a beneficial legislation for both the companies, because now we see number of marketing companies are coming day and night. There is no harm in the companies are coming into the marketing field, but then there should be a minimum standard whereby the market drugs be fed into the social network and in the society, so that the society will get a good quality of medicine. Earlier, what was happening, the manufacturer was manufacturing the drug and they are giving to marketing companies. Very big marketing companies are there and small companies are also there. So what was happening, they are taking the medicine manufactured from the small manufacturer or manufacturer, big or small, whatever may be, and they are selling to the market. So there was no sense of responsibility for the marketing companies. And we know that where there is no responsibility, then definitely carelessness is there. So to tap this attitude as negligence or careless attitude, this legislation has been brought into the force. Thereafter, what happened? This has been brought in April 2020, and 1 year time was given. And from 1st March 2021, this is being made effective. Now, what happened now? Earlier, whenever basically this is related to the issue of prosecution only, as far as the quality of drug is concerned. Whenever the drug inspector who are doing their duty, they take a sample of the drug. Marketing company clearly says, we are only a marketer, we are a wholesaler. We are not responsible for the quality of a drug. So it is a manufacturer who has to be taken into account, and we are only a wholesaler. So ultimately, what happened? The marketing company they are getting free of responsibility, and manufacturer they are being caught. I'm not saying that the marketing company was doing anything wrong or manufacturer was doing anything wrong, because in my experience, what I found that the manufacturer they don't do anything wrong knowingly. Neither the marketing company do wrong neitherly, but there should be some interaction and indirect control mechanism between the marketing company as well as manufacturer. So the marketing company will also take some extra care, and by that manufacturer will also take some extra care. Today, if many marketing companies being responsible, they will make a force on a manufacturer. No, you have to make a good medicine, then only I will buy, otherwise I will not buy. So this will automatically keep into control the manufacturers. So ultimately, the quality of a drug is likely to be improved by this um, legislation. Now let us go into the, instead of giving a long lecture, I will go to directly the law point for which all people are gathered today. So I will take a permission to share my screen. So my screen can be seen now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It is a notification that was published by Government of India on February 11, 2020. So this notification has introduced some changes, has introduced some new rules to the existing rules. First of all, they have given a definition. This definition in section 2, in rule 2, they have added the definition of a marketeer. And the marketeer was divided into two parts. This is very important. The marketer means a person who is an agent. Either a marketer be an agent or in other capacity. So these two things are given. Either a person is an agent or in other capacity. The other capacity has not been defined under the Act. So let us take word by word. So a person who is an agent or in other capacity adopts any drug manufactured by the another manufacturer under an agreement for marketing of such drug by labeling or affixing his name on the label of a drug with a view for its sale and distribution. I will see it in a two way, in a positive way, that the law has came into force and it provides that there should be a person, marketing company either can be considered as an agent of the company or he can market in any other capacity. So if we take this, if we consider marketing company as an agent of a company, agent of a manufacturer, then it is to be established from the agreement itself. Whether the marketing company is doing under the working under the control of a manufacturer, so he falls within the definition of an agent, or he is a principal to principal basis. If he is the agent of a company, then definitely his liability under section 19 will be very high. But if he is working in a capacity of a principal to principal, then very definition of a marketeer gives some chances to the marketing company to take a defense that he is not an agent of a company, and so his liability under this rule will be different than the agent of a company. In a simple word, if I am a marketeer and I am not an agent of a company, then I am working on a principal to principal basis. So what will be my liability? Then my liability will be governed by the drug and cosmetic rules and not alone by these rules which have been introduced under the rules now. What is the responsibility as a principal to principal basis? I am a wholesaler. I have given a license for wholesaling. There is a condition of a license which I need to comply with. So within the setup of a drugs and cosmetic rules and drugs and cosmetics act, I have to perform. I cannot go into the premises. I cannot go into the premises of a manufacturer. It is not my duty to see that what raw material is manufacturer is buying. It is not my duty to see what how he is manufacturing, because in manufacturing, marketing company cannot have any say. They cannot intervene into that manufacturing process. So once we see that I am not an agent, agent in the sense, say I am a C&F agent by virtue of an agreement, then I am a responsible as much as a manufacturer. But if I am working as a principal of the manufacturer, I am so principal to principal, then what I have to see? I have to see the minimum standard. As a wholesaler, what are the responsibility put on me? I have to comply with that responsibility. If I fail to comply with that responsibility, then definitely I will be covered under the responsible clause which has been introduced by this rule. So this is the first part. Now coming to second part, agreement for marketing. This rule has changed now that there must be an agreement for marketing. So this agreement for marketing may be different from the commercial agreement till now entered into by the companies. There will be two agreements. One agreement is the commercial terms, which you can have what you have already with them. But at the same time, you need to have a clear agreement under Rule 2EA, the separate agreement, as per my knowledge, so that as far this quality of drugs is concerned and this rule is concerned, that is to be complied with. Then what can be that agreement? That agreement, that agreement should be at least will say that what is the broad responsibility of a manufacturer, what is the broad responsibility of a marketer, what responsibility marketer has to comply with as per the agreement. Because this rule is based upon an agreement for marketing. So in case of any prosecution that is forthcoming before the court instituted by any drug inspector, then the agreement of marketing agreement will be looked into to find out what is the responsibility agreed between the parties as on a contract basis. What is the contractual obligation between the parties? Then third point we take to 84E, responsibility of a marketer of a drug. What it says, any marketer who sells or distributes. Now here sales and distribute or distribute is two different things are given. Sell or distributes any drug shall be responsible for quality of the drug as well as other regulatory compliances along with manufacturer under the rules. So it says that what is the responsibility of marketing company? Any marketer who sells or distribute any drug shall be responsible for the quality of that drug. And what as well as all other regulatory compliances along with manufacturer under the rules. So he will be responsible for the quality of a drug and other regulatory compliances for which manufacturer is also responsible. So it is not that the manufacturer is scot free, but it is the joint duty of both marketer company as well as the manufacturer to look into that all the quality of a drug is maintained, and second part is regulatory requirement is being complied with. So these are the things which one has to look into. Now I will share another part, another screen. So here I have already explained the two way the definition of a marketer. Then we have come to the agreement of marketing company, second component. The third component is responsibility of a marketer. Now coming to this point again, responsible marketing is divided in two parts. One is a responsibility for the quality and another is for regulatory compliances. So this regulatory compliances is the basically the burden of a marketing company which they have to look into. I will come to the point again. Then there's another rule, Rule 96, by insertion of clause 13. They made that following particulars shall be either written in an indelible ink and shall be conspicuously in manner on label of a container, every container. मतलब लेबल के ऊपर मार्केटिंग कंपनी का नाम आएगा, क्या क्या आएगा, द नेम ऑफ द मार्केटर ऑफ ए ड्रग एंड इज एड्रेस in case the drug is marketed by the marketer, provided that if the drug is contains small amounts, the exemption was given. So now, what are the necessary components now after coming through this? We pulled out 5 points basically. Marketer to act either as an agent within the meaning of section 19 or in other capacity. These are one part. The second part is adoption of a drug. The marketer adopt the drug for marketing of a drug manufactured by another manufacturer. This adoption that necessarily connected with the trademark that I will come later. There should be an agreement and the name of a marketing company should be mentioned on the label and such arrangement for sale or distribution of drug. So these are the 5 components one has to comply with. Now coming to the interaction of this, now this will lead to the interpretation of the rules and how far it is possible to implement by word. Because if some rules are made, we should not go by the meaning, literal meaning of the rules, but has to see the rules in totality. When we go for the labeling requirement, because marketing company, when marketing company can be recognized, when his name is there on the label. So labeling requirement is given in Rule 96 of the Act. And so clause 13 was added, whereby now the name of a marketing company shall be printed on the label of the drug. So now legally, marketing company can print their name on the label of a drug. Why I am saying legally? Before this amendment, printing of a name of a drug was not permissible under the law because there was no provision under the Act whereby a person can get product manufactured from another manufacturer under contract manufacturing. That was only possible under Rule 69A. What we do actually, we take the premises of the manufacturer, avail the facility of a manufacturer to manufacture the drug under marketing setup. So manufacturer produce the drug and gives you, and he was putting your name on the label. So that was the illegal practice which was taking place for last 30 years. Now people will ask me how was it illegal? Because of contract manufacturing. It was illegal because there was a Rule 69A. There's a loan license. The legislature has intentionally made this law applicable, whereby they provided that in case any person want to get the product manufactured, he should comply with Rule 69A. When a person get the product manufactured under Rule 69A, definitely he also owns the responsibility of the drug which he is manufacturing. So that is why when the consciously there was a Rule 69A was there was no reason why it should be bypassed by the marketing company. So case related now, then then why the manufacturer marketing company were putting their name on the label and why it was illegal and when it was come to the forefront first. So I will go to the back of the history. It is in the Patna High Court in 2011, first case came up. Company was GlaxoSmithKline Pharmaceuticals Limited. They were doing marketing their product there in Bihar. So State Drug Control Officer, he has taken the sample and there is a question that since there is a 69A is there, loan license is there, you are bypassing the provision of loan license and instead you are going for the third party manufacturing. Ultimately, he filed a complaint before the magistrate. The matter landed up before the Patna High Court. And Patna High Court in 2011 given a judgment that printing of a name of a marketing company on the label is violation of Rule 69A. There cannot be there cannot no provision is there whereby the name of a marketing company can be printed on the label, because in Rule 96, which is connected to manufacturing, license manufacturing under Section 18. So only Rule 96 was there, 97 was there for different purpose, but Rule 96 was not permitting the labeling requirement. So Patna High Court held that as far as the above products are concerned, Glaxo has no role in their manufacturing. Therefore, the name of an intended purchaser and its logo should not appear on the label of a drug purchase. Thus, printing of name and logo of an intended purchaser on the label of a drug in violation of Labeling Rule 96 and 97 Drugs and Cosmetics Act and attract penal provision, provision of Section 17B of Drugs and Cosmetics 1940. So 17B is a spurious drug, we can say. So that is it should be a misbranded. So that was the decision of a Patna High Court. Thereafter, another PIL has come before the Allahabad High Court, and thereafter another cases, bunch of cases come before the Delhi High Court, 13 more cases. SmithKline Pharmaceuticals Limited was socio-political observer of India. In this case, what happened? Marketing companies taken a stand that since Rule 96 does not provide for anything extra to be no provision are there to print the name of a marketing company. The name of a marketing company are given on the label as extra information. But after the argument, Delhi High Court do not agree and they issued a notice to the central government. And thereafter, central government has taken the decision in DPAB meeting held on 16/5/2018 to amend the rule whereby the name of a marketing company can be printed on the label. So, on a lighter note, I will say that this rule, this amendment should be taken as a welcome measure by the pharmaceutical marketing companies, whereby now their act of marketing has been recognized by the law and become a legal activity now. Now we are coming to the point that it's okay that illegal activity is now being recognized by the law, and now a marketing company can legally print their name on the label of a drug and they can do marketing now. It's a good thing. But now the concern is being shown by the marketing company that how they can be responsible for the quality of a drug. So this is basically the concern of all the people who are joining today. Because the manufacturing is done by the manufacturer, then how the marketing company can be responsible for the quality of a drug. To that, I will say that Section 34 is there under the Drugs and Cosmetics Act. Before that, I will come to this tree, why this tree has been made by me. This Section 3F, Section 3, Clause F, that defines manufacture. So that defines manufacture. Manufacture means even include labeling of the drug also. Manufacturing, processing, ornamenting, and labeling. So labeling is basically a part of a manufacture. So if any, so that labeling has to be carried out by the manufacturer only. It cannot be carried out by the marketer. Although rules provide that 2E provides that the marketer will label the drug, I think it needs further amendment by the government. This section Rule 2EA is is directly contrary to Section 3F of the Act. So there is the power and the duty of the government to look into. I have written letter to the ministry to look into this part. Coming to the point, since the labeling is the part of a manufacture, which is covered under Section 3, rules cannot override this. So rules so far provides for the liability of a responsibility of a marketing company to print their name on the label, like here. This one, Rule 84D. No, sorry. Definition means a person who is an agent or in any other capacity adopt any drug manufactured by another manufacturer under an agreement for a marketing exercise drug by labeling or affixing his name. How a marketer can affix or label his name? It is not possible. So it has to be necessarily done by the manufacturer only. So to that extent, my point is that we don't go by word, but to see the basic overall impact of the law. That is my point, which I am making out here. So ultimately, coming to the point, section 3 that provides that the labeling is a part of a manufacture. So I will come to the second part. Then the new question is, what will be the responsibility of a marketing company? Since the responsibility of marketing companies on twofold, quality as well as the regulatory, we will first come to the regulatory part. The regulatory part regulatory part can be compared by the wholesaler marketing company. And what are that part? That is connected to the condition of license, purely going by the law and rules I'm saying. The condition of license has been imposed on the wholesaler, and that condition of license has to be complied by the wholesaler. So long he is complying with the condition of license clearly, then no fault can be found from the marketer. Further, marketer has to be little cautious as far as rule section 34 is concerned. Any offense is punishable under the Act only and only when it is proved under section 34 that the offense is committed with the knowledge or connivance or consent of a person concerned. It may be a manufacturer, it may be a wholesaler. So one is to show that he has taken all reasonable care to ascertain that the drug which he is selling, marketing is of a standard quality. So how that can be achieved? So that can be always be achieved by the marketing company by testing each and every batch of a drug which he is buying to make certain efforts to see that the manufacturer whether complying with the general GMP or not, to ascertain about the reputation of a manufacturer from the market, how the manufacturer is. These basic things, three things, if we do, then definitely in case of any prosecution, it will be a good defense with him to show that all possible care which he has taken. If you can able to show under section 34 that the offense is committed not with his consent, not with his knowledge, or that he has taken all due care for none to avoid the offense, commission of offense, then definitely he will not be held responsible. So that is why I want to say that section 3F is related to section 19 also. Even we can find the difference in section 19. Section 19.3 clearly says that in case of a person who is not an agent of a company, manufacturer, if shows that he has taken due care for sale, marketing of the product, sale of the product, then he will not held responsible. So ultimately, it is coming down to the section 19 that the person has taken due care. Now the due care, I cannot give the exhaustive list what care should be taken. At least some cases that to verify whether the manufacturer has a proper license or not, whether he has a regulatory approval or not, whether the FDC is new FDC and is taking license from the state licensing authority, whether the banned drug is being manufactured by him, whether the quality of a drug, because when you buy, you can only get it tested from the approved laboratory under Rule 74. That is, and suppose your drug is for 3 years, at least once in a year or 1.5 years in a year, you can retest the drug to know the stability of a drug, whether the assay is confirming or not, dissolution is proper or not. That can always be checked by the marketing company. This is all good for the public, no? Because the marketing company will also be saved from the litigation, and they will be also happy at the end of the day that they are giving a good drug, good medicine to the public, and self satisfaction will be there. So I don't say there's anything wrong about this. So ultimately, I will sum up now the legal part, then I can take the questions from the public or the participant. So ultimately, I will sum up as to say that section 3F is there. The affecting part is section 16, which provides for the standard of quality of a drug. Second schedule is there. So this will be taken care of by the laboratories. You have to engage a good laboratory for taking the sample. And I will advise that if you can take the help of like this IPA also is there, if you can take and open one another some laboratory to be recognized by the government or the pharma drug controller, or they can provide the services of taking an independent sample and testing it from the laboratory and giving a report, so that in a court of law, when some litigation is filed, they can ask the NGO or this IPA, just my suggestion, like association, to come forward and give evidence, witness that the sample was taken by me independently, it was tested independently, and sample was correct. So these are the things. So ultimately, these are the chart. Section 3F is a main section which is going to be affected by this rule. Section 26, which provides the power for the consumer association to take sample and test it. Second schedule is providing for the standard of a drug. Then 124 and 126 again the standard of a drug. Section 27 rules provides for the penal provisions. Rule 96 labeling requirement. Rule 69 manufacturing approvals, licenses. 69A loan license. Rule 61 license issued under Form 20B, and the responsive condition of license under Rule 64. These are the combined things we have to look into while reading this amendment. So this is what I want to have now. Now I'm disconnecting my share window. So I will prefer if individual questions can be asked, if anything remain. I may not be always right. I may have taken some wrong statements also. So I would like to have your comments on this.
Sir, I have one query, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, maximum, because I'm calling from near to Buddhi and Chandigarh area, where more than 350 pharmaceutical company, it is a hub.
Right.
And all third-party manufacturer, maximum of third-party manufacturer.
Fine.
And if you go through the government CDSO site, every month, approx 11 to 12, in between 11 to 12, they are giving the NSQ, the details.
Right.
I have one query is if any NSQ is coming, like the problem is there with assay or dissolution for a particular batch, maximum maximum third party what they are doing, they are always giving the solution, and if they have a feasibility, all the label and all, and if they are manufacturing the new batch and they are incorporating the same batch size and sending to the government testing lab, how we can control that type of NSQ legally from the government point of view, and keeping in mind the efficacy towards our towards the human mankind. It's a serious issue, sir.
See, there are respectable drug control officers, people are also there, regulators are also there. To my mind, whatever now the way of prosecution is half-heartedly done. Suppose some manufacturer is found to be manufacturing NSQ again and again. What is the procedure now? These drug inspector takes the sample, he issues notice to the manufacturer, he takes the documents, and he files a complaint. Do you think that if any manufacturing company is having some problem with one drug, he do not have a problem with another drug? Filing of a prosecution is not a solution. If we want to see that the manufacturer is really coming out with a good drug, see, dishonest practice is another issue. But most of the manufacturers which I found have a honest practices. That is due to lack of a good manufacturing chemist. This is what happening again and again. So in such situation, it is advisable for the state drug controller. This is just my advice. I am not giving my view. That the manufacturing premises under Rule 85, 83, 84, 85 is there, where the power has been given to the drug control officer, licensing authority to cancel the license or suspended. So if any such NSQ is coming, to my knowledge, the manufacturing premises should be properly, thoroughly checked, thoroughly inspected by the drug controller, licensing authority, drug inspector, and if it is found that really there is a by some mistake or for lack of knowledge, the things are being done, then remedial measures should be given to them, suggested to them, so that they again such practice again such mistake will not be committed by them. So this is the suggestion which I can give.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Shushanji. So, in continuation of question, we receive a one question that one of the our attendee want to know. Can you explain the agreement of marketing? What are the expectation in this agreement with respect to this amendment? Can you highlight in this?
Yes, I have given you a chart. No, this amendment is not only an amendment of a 96 or 84E or 84D or 2A. It also covers the entire chart which I have shown, affected sections, the related sections. So what is expected from the marketing company, that from this point of view, that the marketing company is selling the drug into the market. If they are buying in a wholesale and they are selling in a wholesale, but only because they are putting their name, they have an extra precaution that they have to take. As far as the agreement is concerned, agreement must see that the company from where they are getting it manufactured is compliant with the regulations. As far as the GMP is concerned, license are concerned, the minimum document I have came through number of cases where the marketing company are getting the drugs manufactured, but ultimately it is found that the manufacturer is not there. Fake manufacturers are there. So at least good marketing companies, small or big, whosoever maybe, big companies, they have owned their set of regulations, regulatory people like that. So they are very well controlling their activities. But for small companies, at least they have to see that the licenses are in force. The drug which is manufactured by the company is not shown. The record of the marketing manufacturer is not always shown. Not occurred into this NSQ list, because the NSQ list is published by the drug department, drug authority every month. And so far his stability, his own laboratory setup, how good setup he has, which laboratory he is engaged for testing, whether that laboratory has itself is a facility for testing or not. If have some part, some precaution was marketing company has to take into account. As far as the agreement is concerned, agreements that revolve around these rules. So there are number of clauses are there, like indemnity clause is there, the GMP clause is there, document clause is there. If he has been prosecuted, he should disclose that he has been prosecuted. So these are the different parts, different things are there. I can share the model agreement with the IPA for the benefit of the marketing companies.
Okay, thank you, sir, for highlighting this issue. So next question is related to the P2P model. Under the P2P model, if marketer cannot visit the manufacturer, then how marketer will ensure the GMP? So because as we all know, the GMP is the initial requirement and to market the product. So if the as a marketer he cannot visit the premises, and how can he certain the product is the GMP manufactured or not? Can you highlight it on this, sir?
No, I'm not saying that marketers should visit to the, because the GMP is issued by the licensing authority. Marketing company is not above licensing authority. When the state government issues some licenses, some documents, then the marketing company need not to go into, but at least marketing company can demand GMP certificate. And if he is going to do business, at least he has to do, he can engage independent auditor also. He can take the help of an independent auditor who can go and visit the company, and overall at least some report he can give to at least the satisfaction of the marketing company, that which product he want to get manufactured from the company. He has that track record. At least this can be checked. GMP certificate original he can check. He can take the license, and he can check the facility whether, okay, because there is a comparison is always there, whether in past he has manufactured such drug or not. If he has not manufactured that drug, he can insist upon a manufacturer to take the help of some experienced chemist, manufacturing chemist. how you can expect that one chemist can manufacture all type of drug? So this responsibility the manufacturer has to take, or marketing company can tie up with the manufacturers who are expert into this particular drugs. By that, they can save that, they can ensure that the proper medicine is fed into the market. So you can take the independent help of the auditors also. That's not an issue. I am not saying that you are above the law authorities.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, actually, all the good manufacturer like Cipla, Glenmark, and when they are making the third party, what they are
Yes.
doing, they are always keeping one QA person and QC persons in a LL company, third party manufacturer company, and they are making they are ensuring the quality of the product. The same way, the way you conveyed also, all the marketing company also keep 1 or 2%, two organization third party auditor. They can give their AMC also in a month or twice in a month. They'll go to the manufacturer and they can ensure the quality of the products. I think this is possible.
Yeah, this is always possible, but one thing that no, when you are going to get the product manufactured from the manufacturer, at least you can have this track record whether earlier he manufactured this drug or not. If you are going with the novel drug with the some company, he never manufactured that drug, and if you wanting he should manufacture this, you should avoid that. To my small knowledge, you know, there's a problem in the amoxicillin. Mr. Sarna is there in the meeting. I have learned a lot of things from him, Mr. A. Sarna. So amoxicillin and Clavinic, he has given me a number of such examples. So the companies who have never manufactured amoxicillin, why should you go there to get the product manufactured amoxicillin from them? If in case you are getting that product manufactured from them, you can ask the manufacturer to take the services of some chemist. Here, IPA has to make some team of a good manufacturing chemist in different areas to provide consultancy also. But it's a lecture only I'm giving. That's not a possible now immediately, but at least the marketing company, they can ensure by engaging third party auditors to see whether the plant is at least complying with the minimum norm.
Excuse me, sir.
Sure.
Excuse me, sir.
The same way, sir, in same way in Baddi area, sir, we are giving the third party, we are supporting to ensure the quality of for the third party manufacturer company. Yes, sir, I am 100% with you.
Yes.
Sir, I have one small question from you, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am Jitendra Bharti here, sir. So, sir, can you please tell me the relevance of Rule 69A in view of the recent amendment of Rule 84D, in which the agreement for marketing company has been provided? So, I think in view of this amendment, then the provisions for the loan license will become irrelevant. So, what is your view on it, sir?
See, Rule 69 is a complete code itself. It provides a complete set. See, in my beginning of my lecture, I told that this amendment is further required to be amended further to make it a complete code. It is only a repair work which has been done now. 69A is relevant till now because it is a complete code and provides a complete setup. There is a license provision is there, then the responsibility provision is there. Condition of, if you go to the conditional license related to 69A, you will find what are the conditions to be compared by the licensee.
Okay.
So that is still relevant, but yes, after the introduction of this rule, that's been diluted to large extent. But then that is why I'm saying that you should not go by word of this amendment. Only possible thing is that what is possible for a wholesaler under the law, he has to comply that only. If the minimum requirement with minimum care which he has taken to prevention of the commission of offense, then he cannot be held responsible even after the AC's amendment.
Okay, so
but if you are careful about selecting your manufacturer, you are not careful about testing the drug, you are not careful about getting the unit audited by the independent auditor or your own auditor, then how you can say that you are taking a due care, not for commission of offense? So you are differentiating the thin line is there between 69A and these new provisions.
So the only the future will tell.
Definitely.
Thank you, sir. So next question is related to from the Tingel Pharmaceutica. He is asking the question to as a marketing company.
Yes.
His question is that I can take batch report from the manufacturer company, which is okay, but still if complaints related to the quality occur, who will be legally guilty? So I think he want to know that if the company having getting a report related to the quality, so can
Right.
they ask the BMR batch manufacturing record so he can be go through the BMR and ascertain the quality of the product? Is it legally allowed or not
See,
as a marketer?
asking for BMR, there is no provision under the act which can stop you from asking the BMR. You are a buyer, you are a consumer of a drug. As far as the marketing company manufacturer is concerned, you have all right to ask for the BMR. But what you will gain from the BMR? Are you a drug inspector? So that you can check the BMR and find out what has happened. The manufacturer will say, no, I will not allow you. Who are you? So for that purpose, BMR is not going to help you. Only thing is that you can engage some independent, because under section 26, this is my own view. It may be wrong or it may be correct. This is my own view. Section 26 has recognized that consumer association, recognized consumer association has been given a power to draw a sample and get it tested from the approved laboratory. So what at the most you can take the help of some such consumer association, or you people say 15 or 20 or 100 of marketing companies can engage some NGO who is recognized consumer association, who will take independent sample. They will get it tested and they will report you. So all depend upon the laboratory who is testing it. So drug inspectors, drug authorities have to be very rigid with the laboratories to ensure that laboratories are properly testing the drug and giving the report. And for your own satisfaction, you can engage the services of some recognized consumer association who will take independent sample and they will give independent report to you. And thereafter, if some prosecution comes, you can always seek their witness before the court that we have discharged our liability, we have discharged our responsibility by engaging an independent auditor, independent NGO for testing of a drug. And thereafter, we are working on it. So this exercise has to be taken by the marketing company.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Laboratory has to be taken care of now properly.
Sir, basically, the good market company prior to release any product, they are believing the manufacturer report as well as they are sending the sample to the outside lab also, and they are comparing the result. They are giving the green signal. Then only they are accepting the product in market.
See, that is good to listen, but now reality we also know what happens. So if there's a third party is there who has to take care of this testing, it is his responsibility, because when you are a manufacturer and another marketing company, when they produce their report before the court seldom give any credit to this report, because ultimately government analysis report and central CDM report has to prevail. These two reports have been reported under the Act. Why I'm saying to take the help of another NGO is that if they have been engaged, then at least they will come to in a witness to show that yes, this drug was tested by us, it was found correct. So marketing company cannot be held responsible. If anything has been taken place, then it's the end of the manufacturer. So by if you are taking your own sample and getting it tested, so vested interest is always taken into account. So court may not agree with you because you cannot be a witness against your own case.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for highlighting the issue. And second question is remain from the Tanger Pharmaceutical. Is there any agreement in between the marketing and manufacturing company to protecting the legal point of marketing company? So is it possible we make any agreement as a marketer with a manufacturer? If in
Agreement,
future if any issue is coming related to quality,
no, it is
then
not. No. Agreement, civil agreements cannot override rules.
Okay,
Not
thank you,
so.
sir. And next question is from the Mr. Sudeep Pandya. He is want to asking about the do we have a right to ask COA, that is a certificate of analysis in detail of our product as a marketer?
Why not? Why not? After this
Thank you.
amendment, they have all the right to ask.
Okay, thank you, sir. So I think that you will be in a position you can ask the COA for particular batch. Then you market the
Yes,
product. Second is question is from Jitendra Bharti. What is the relevance of Rule 69A in view of new amended rule base 84D?
we have
What is
already
the
made. I have replied already. I have replied.
okay? I think the Jitendra, you can get your answer during the sessions. And next question from the Aruni Potter. If marketing company has been permitted to print their name on the packaging, they must be held equally liable as a manufacturing company in case of drug is found to be substandard quality. Please give
Then
your opinion.
I understand.
Is
Then
it
section
allowed?
34, section 34 has to be read with this. Whatever amendment is, section 34 and section 19 has to be read with this. Section 34 provides for the due care if taken by the marketing company, then how he is responsible. That is why the due care has to be taken. Due care is basically the thing which is going through entire changes and amendment.
Okay. Yeah. Next question from the Tanvir Ahmed. Is the amendment applicable for imported product as well? Or this is
Definitely.
rule is only for the domestic
Since,
manufacturer?
since it is connected to Rule 96 only, so we can say that because for the imported product is already the importer is considered the manufacturer. There always provision is there. So this is basically for Rule 96 for domestic only. As far as import is concerned, already rule is there. Import is always responsible.
Okay. So next question is from the advocate Amit Singh. He want to know, do the marketing company should provide the register office addresses, or they can provide any correspondence address of their branch or corporate office as per the labeling requirement?
He is my junior. I don't know where he is from, where he is putting this question. It is an interesting question. See, then we have to go for section 17B and misbranding. So 17B provides that if the name and address of a company is given wrongly, then it will be treated as a misbranded as well as spurious. So ultimately, the wholesale license, where the wholesale license is there, that address to be given. No fake address. Because the registered office of the company is different. Because registered office, the company may have a different registered office also. And having a wholesale license of other that. So it is always advisable to have a, basically I think it is statutorily required that the wholesale license only address should only be given.
Okay. So next question is
Registered office, in addition to that, registered office address can be given under the Companies Act because Companies Act mandate that the registered office address can be given. So wholesale license and registered office address both can be given.
Sir, I have one question. Hi, this is Srikanth Patil. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, sure, please.
Yeah, sir. Regarding with this amendment, na, in my view, it is
Yeah,
a specific. It is for the principal to principal business, right? Or maybe as an agent of the manufacturing company. Okay,
yes,
because
yes, correct.
as per the law, we have clear-cut manufacturing license and don't license, but we do not have provision in the law for the P2P business. Okay, so as
Right,
considering this amendment, suppose we have a marketing agreement with the manufacturing. So we define what are the responsibility of the manufacturer and what are the responsibility lies with the marketer. So coming to
right,
that one point, sir, here that is as a marketer we are the responsibility for the quality of the product. So here I
right,
want to see your view. Suppose, sir, specifically we as a marketer, we buy a product from the manufacturer, where we have the agreement also with the manufacturer. but this product has been tested by the government authority and it is found as a not of the standard quality. So legal now, say like this
Right.
NSQ is there. So legally, how we can defend, how we can be a safe as a marketer.
So that is
So
what we are discussing. Marketing company has no role in a manufacturing. Only what they have to ensure the minimum care under section 34 that you have to show, because now what happened by this amendment, drug inspectors has been given a power to prosecute you. Earlier they had no power because in every litigation, every prosecution, section 19(3) was taken as a ground that I am a wholesaler, I am not a manufacturer, I cannot be held responsible. But now by introduction of this rule, now drug inspector has get the power to include you as an accused. Now in a code, you have to show that whatever possible care you have taken. Once you show that care, then you are not responsible. Your liability under section 27 will not be equal to the manufacturer. You will be punished for this residue clause, and manufacturer will punish because under section 27A. So A, for the manufacturing of any drug which is being hazardous to life or life-threatening, if that is being sold by you intentionally, knowingly, then you will be responsible. If the moment you come to your notice that the drug is having some quality issue, or somebody has informed you, or from your own testing you come to know that the drug is not of standard quality, then how you stop the marketing, then why you will be held responsible? Because in previous also, court has taken a view that wholesaler, if buying a product in wholesale and storing it properly and selling it in wholesale without opening the seal, without opening the carton, he will not be held responsible. So that law prevails today also.
Okay, means you mean that like here one important thing is telling that there is one thing is that manufacturing one part, but another there is a second part is the storage and the distribution. So we
Yes.
need to provide the sufficient evidence that whatever we product taken from the manufacturer are stored appropriately as per the requirement, right?
One, the product taken by the manufacturer, you have taken a due care to see that he is an eligible manufacturer to manufacture the product. He has no bad track record. Then you tested the drug, you store the drug, you are complying with the licensing conditions. If you can show this, and you are not a party to any hanky-panky, that's right. So you don't have a knowledge when you sold the drug, you don't have a knowledge it is not a standard quality. The moment the NSQ report was received by you, you stop the selling of the drug. If you can prove these 7 points, 8 points, definitely court will rescue you. But yes, drug controller, drug inspectors have power to prosecute you now.
Yeah.
Sir, just one query, sir.
Yes,
One
please.
second.
Hello. Sir, today we are discussing because when the responsibility going towards the marketing company, they are thinking how they can ensure the quality of the product. Or any problem will, market complaint will come, whether the responsibility will go towards the marketing company or not. Because it's all because all the manufacturer having 100 formula for a one generic product. If the government will give the quality formula, like national formularies was there initially, and they can take the tender and they can manufacture anywhere, I think this type of problem could be solved.
No, it is not possible because now there cannot be a standardization in production. Because every person, I will just compare the manufacturing of a pharmaceutical with a restaurant. Suppose you have a very good restaurant setup. Now you kept one manufacturing chemist. Problem lies there. You kept one one chef. You ask him, you prepare South Indian, you prepare Mughlai, you prepare North Indian, you prepare Bengali food, you prepare Tamilian food. So I don't think the one chef can prepare all the food properly. So this is the condition in a pharmaceutical setup. Manufacturing chemist perform the duty of a chef. If he's not competent enough to manufacture all these products, then definitely there is a problem. That is why the government should come up with the knowledge bank of a good pharmaceutical manufacturer, the chemist, who can exchange their knowledge with another manufacturer. Then only this will be possible. Otherwise, you have to depend on a good laboratories. Now, the IPA, I will request the IPA to take up the matter with the government to see that laboratories will be doing the good job and proper job, not only printing a report and giving the report. Openly, I am telling you. I think people will agree with me.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. We will try to write a
And
letter
also,
regarding the same.
Dr. Sir, to write down
Yes,
the
please.
in prescription in generic drug, and we are discussing, sir, in one generic having 1,000 formulation. So whether we'll go for this type of branded, or we'll go for the quality. How we can make the quality formulation then?
I can't understand your question. Again, please. Can you repeat your question, please?
Well, sir, nowadays in Badiria also, if you go through just simple ciprofloxacin hydrochloride tablets, it's having 100 formula from 100 manufacturer.
Yes.
It's quite difficult to ensure the quality of the formulations. Number one, and government is saying that all doctor has to write down in generic form, because the time Dr. Reddy's has invested to develop the formula, and the time all the third-party manufacturer is going to manufacture the product from the third LL company or third-party manufacturer company, quality won't be equal. So how we can manage the generic versus brand versus quality in keeping in mind the third-party manufacturer or marketing company?
See, this is a practical approach which you are taking. As far as the law is concerned, all manufacturers, as per the law, is same. Once the license is granted to them, they are same. So far, the standardized manufacturing SOP is concerned, there is no SOP in the world. Only we have to follow the testing protocol as per the IP, BP, or Merck, as per the Schedule 2. So ultimately, what we are doing reverse engineering. Once the product is manufactured, then we are testing as per the protocol. This is what is happening. So this is for the government to make the formulary properly, the formulation process, because it is we cannot have any comment on that.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. One second. Yeah, it's kind request to all participants. Please put your questions in chat box only, because many people have already written questions there. So please, this is request. So Neeraj sir, please continue.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Pawan. And Kuntalji, if you have any question, you write your question in chat box. We will take a opinion of our presenter and speaker and revert you back on your email. Thank you, Kuntalji. So my next question is from the Anirudh side. His question is related to as a manufacturer, do they need to verify the address of marketing company?
Yes, definitely.
Or marketing company is responsible for itself?
Yes, recently one case came to me. Two sides I am saying. The other marketing company was getting his product manufactured from some company. Uttarakhand authority has raided the premises. Ultimately, it is found that that company has many companies label. They have engaged another middleman for marketing their products to another marketing companies. So ultimately, all were found to be forged, and ultimately they have to file some cases. So in that case, one marketing company who was not aware of this, he was also being prosecuted. In another case, the manufacturer, he was manufacturing narcotic drugs properly. He supplied it to some UP party. That UP party was having a fake license. Although he has a good proper GST, PAN number, everything, but he has a fake license. So on that, supply was made. That manufacturer was put into trouble. Then he got released from the Allahabad High Court. So in both ways, one has to ensure that a marketing company and a manufacturing company are properly genuine people or not, and really exist or not. It is very much necessary.
Thank you, sir. And our next question is from the Ankush Panjarji. He want to know, is any minimum due diligence which can be standardized so that the marketing company is effectively free from any quality issue if arise due to the quality failure in line with Rule 19 under Section 3.
Rule 19, see, that we have already discussed, no? The same issue we already discussed. As far as the quality is concerned, the responsibility of a marketing company cannot be extended as a manufacturer. The manufacturer has their own responsibility, marketing company also has their own responsibility. So long they are working within the domain of a licensing conditions, minimum duty of care, they may be implicated as the accused, but definitely court will grant them a relief. Because it is a duty of a prosecution to prove that the act has been done with intent to commit offense.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
As far as manufacturer is concerned, there is no case of mens rea. Their drug authority did not to prove that the offense has been committed with consent or without knowledge or with knowledge. But here, in case of a wholesaler, it is to be proved that this offense has been committed with the knowledge, with convenience of the marketing company. Then marketing company can be responsible.
So next question is from the Kulvinder Singh Sharma ji. He want to know, do we need to have any agreement with a private lab to get a product tested? Reason being the private lab test is okay or not, whether they have a tested or not. I think he want to know can we prior to marketing the particular batch, we test that product in private lab and assure the quality of product. Is it possible in legal way?
See, whenever you are 70 Rule 74 has recognized certain laboratories to act as a laboratory under the Act. So prima facie, if marketing company take the report from the laboratory, and if that report is really being properly done, then definitely they can take these laboratory people as a witness on their side at the time of a trial. But merely taking any report from the laboratory, that will not protect them from the prosecution. But see, one part is that as far as the authority of drug inspector is concerned, whatever you do, they have a power to implement you as an accused. But since it is a part of a rule, then in show cause is given, if they can satisfy the drug control authority, then there is a screening committee by the authority. If that screening committee take up the matter and they come to the conclusion that no, this offense has been not committed with the knowledge or convenience of a marketing company, they can let off him. So that is why I'm asking, saying, if you can take the services of some NGO or some independent contractor, that will be always better instead of sending the sample directly to the laboratory. And laboratory has to be taken to the task. Because laboratories are doing such a wrong things, I cannot explain on the web.
Okay, thank you, sir. So next question is from Ankush Pandey. I think,
Yes.
do you think that the 84E is teethless unless the marketer is added to 19.3? A person is not being a manufacturer or a drug or a cosmetic or his distribution thereof.
Yes, I
Shall
understand.
not liable for control.
See,
Yes,
see,
sir.
I will say in a two way, yes and no both. If we are going by section 19.3, then if you read, then agent is already added there. So if I extend the definition of agent to the marketing company, if the name of a person is written on the label, so he is something more than a mere wholesaler. So I will treat him as an agent. I will treat him as an agent of a marketing company. Why I can't? This is one part. The other part is that I may not treat him as an agent. If I will able to show that I have nothing to do with the manufacturer. I have my own business. I have my own setup, and I am doing very limited business with the manufacturer. and I have complied with all conditions. So I am not falling within the condition of an agent, but as a principal. That is to be decided by the agreement only. How agreement is drafted.
Okay, sir. Sir,
So
next question is from the Dr. Aruni, Mr. Aruni. So far, the due to care of the concern section 34 talk about the company. Please guide as the section 34, the company refer to marketing company or manufacturing company or both?
Both.
For the both. Okay, sir. So next is from the Shrikant Patil. Is this other regulatory compliance are limited to only condition of license, that is wholesale or retail, or it's applicable to other as well?
Definitely, because you have to go by the setup of the rule 96, 97 and condition of license. Other instructions issued by the central or state authorities, labeling conditions. These are the things completely you have to comply with. See, the area where you cannot enter into, nobody can hold you responsible. Manufacturing is not your domain, where marketing company can enter into. Because today, even the marketing company was given the license of wholesaler only. So today also they are wholesaler. This is the only enabling provision for the drug inspector to institute prosecution against the company, marketing company, and to enforce them to take the duty of care. Nothing more than that.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So I think that we have over the questions. So here I request Shri Kumar sir to take the opportunity, and then I call.
I will request one thing, Mr. Jaggu is here. We can always have his view also.
Good evening, everybody. I hope I am audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. First of all, I should congratulate Dr. Mr. Sushant Mahapatra and all others who have been attending all this. And I personally feel Mr. Mahapatra has very well spoken about this subject, which is very hot these days. And so many questions, intelligent questions rather, have been put to him, and he has very intelligently answered to that. I'm very happy that more than 100 delegates are attending right now, and none of them have left in between also. I find so many senior people, Mr. Sarna, who was with earlier with the Ranbaxy and now with the Zydus, he is also attending, and so many regulators are also there. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, for conveying my thanks to Mr. Mahapatra. And thank you very much, and back to the host.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. So thank you, sir. I request Shri Kumar sir.
Mr. Sarna is also there, sir. Sarna sir, anything you will contribute? He is very seasoned, very experienced person. Mr. Sarna is not audible.
I think Neeraj sir, make me co-host, then I can ask him to unmute.
Hello.
Ji, Sarna sir.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
yes. Go ahead.
I'm really thankful to the organizers, especially Shashank. He has taken up the issue very nicely and deliberated to increase our knowledge. But the problem lies how it will be implemented. See, suppose the sample is taken by the drug office and passes, but during some inspection, there are violations in the factory in the GMP. For that, who will be responsible?
सर ये प्रैक्टिकल एस्पेक्ट है कि भी अभी तो नया अमेंडमेंट आया हुआ है, so that some changes has to be made, because by bringing a new legislation, no problem is going to be over. It is
Yes.
there for last 50 years, it will continue. But yes, one thing is that at least some effort has been done to channelize the things, to fix the responsibility, to create a fair sector, so that each
No,
will be
Subhaji,
each
not
will be
some. It
compensated.
is absolutely required.
Yes,
It has been delayed for so many years, this
yes,
activity.
yes. बाकी लेबोरेटरी को तो आपको आपको देखना पड़ेगा लेबोरेटरी का कैसे अच्छा होगा. Even IPA people in consultation with the in association with the expert in laboratory, because good laboratory practice is coming now. तो एक वो है, देखते हैं क्या होगा उसमें भी.
No, one gentleman asked question, can we have the ask for the COA?
Yes.
So not only COA, we should ask for the stability data, process validation, and one or two more things, which are the basic core of the good quality manufacturing.
Right.
So, but it's a really good initiative by the organization, IPA and ARPA. And I hope in future we have more of such webinars. Thank you very much.
IPO को और एक पहल करनी चाहिए. गवर्नमेंट
हाँ.
लैब के पास पावर एक के अंदर पावर दे रखी है कि भाई प्राइवेट इंडिविजुअल गवर्नमेंट लैब को भेज सकते हैं. तो आप थोड़ा कोशिश ये कीजिए कि गवर्नमेंट लैब में सैंपल सबके टेस्ट हो जाए मार्केटिंग कंपनियों पे.
Okay, sir.
As a marketing company, some of the see Intas has put up their own laboratory in Dehradun. Every batch they get manufactured from anywhere, they get it tested in their own lab, then only release it.
नहीं, अगर एक बार गवर्नमेंट एनालिसिस से टेस्ट होके आ जाएगा ना, तो दैट
हाँ
विल
जी.
हैव एविडेंटरी वैल्यू.
हाँ.
That will help the people lot.
Yes. Thank you very much, Sushant.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So here I request Shri Kumar sir for the closing remark.
So he is a very good professional, very good organizer, and any word is short for him. Shri Kumar is really Shri Kumar.
Yeah. Can you see me, sir? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes, sir.
I am able to see you.
Yeah. In fact, it was a very knowledgeable session, learning session, and eye opener. And as the senior people have already mentioned, like Jackie sir and Khanna sir, that this is just a beginning. And I sincerely thank ARAP and IPA also for supporting this cause and starting this educative program so that the whole industry can be benefited. And before I give the thanking remarks, I have one or two questions. Probably I just could not get the chance. If you permit me, Sushant sir, can I ask you that?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, see, manufacturing company is responsible for quality. Marketing company is going to be, or now it is already effective responsibility. There is one point which is a bigger, matter of concern, which disturbs the management of or the directors of the marketing companies. That in any situation where the sample fails or any non-compliances happens, the prosecution directly or indirectly it goes to the responsibility of the director or the owner of the company. I do agree that this is a very vast subject, and I don't know whether I'll be getting the answer with this point of time. What do you suggest me, sir? How this point can be taken it forward? In one way, it is a liability of the director.
Not audible. Again, you can repeat your question. Can you please repeat your question, please?
Yeah, I'll repeat. So 1 second.
Please.
Yeah, can you hear me, sir? Now?
Yeah, completely. Please.
Yeah. So my question is that, see, apart from the quality parameters, responsibility of manufacturing and marketing companies, one major critical question which keeps on pondering me is the liability of the directors or any prosecution which is going to happen in terms of non-compliance or NSQ issues or anything. The prosecution directly goes to the what you call the management or the owners. So I mean, is it possible that I get an answer at this point of
See,
time?
it is not such a critical area as far as the director's responsibilities are concerned. If you read the section, the practice of filing complaint against the director, being only the director is totally wrong, which I don't support and I always fight for that. The director can only be made responsible only when it is shown that he is a person responsible for day-to-day affairs of the business. See, Section 34 has two parts. One part is responsible person. That person may be, you can make a tree, responsible person. Management, managerial person, and manager person, and another is a director. Responsibility, responsible person, manager, and director. Manager means who is responsible to the business. So only when this in the list of a responsible person director is there. Suppose there are 4 directors, and the responsible director is given that he will look into production only. One director is given a charge of finance only. One director is given a charge of a global market only. Then one director may not be knowing what production director is doing. The finance director may not be knowing. In such cases, directors cannot be held responsible. The law provides that directors can be held responsible only and when it is proved that the offense has been committed with his consent, without his consent or knowledge. If the offense is committed without his consent, knowledge, or connivance, he cannot be even aided as a party. That is why there is Section 34A is there, which makes the court empower the court to implicate some other person into the as the accused. So making the director directly as a party, unless he is in charge of, suppose a small company, 2 directors are there. So one of the directors may be considered in charge of, but in some big companies where the 12, 20 directors are there, so one is to pin down the person to whom he is making a accuse, how he is responsible. If he has anything to do with the production, if not, he cannot. So this is the subject, basically clear picture is there. If a director has a role into the manufacturing, if it can be shown that under his instruction, manufacturing has taken place, under his instruction, spurious drug or substandard drug is manufactured, then prosecution can be filed. But what we see left and right, prosecution filed against the director directly. That's why I have suggested, as per Rule 85, there is a provision of suspension of license, cancellation of license. So before suspension or cancellation, you issue show cause, you take the explanation from them. So even for the prosecution area also, this should be a norm that before making anybody as a party, they should be given a chance to represent their case, which is not happening. So the IPA people, they can take up this matter with the government.
I mean, thank you very much, sir. And I just want to inform one more point that I mean to all the delegates and participants who have been listening to Sri Sushant sir, and to the organizers of ARP and RAP Association and IPA also, that we should take the advantage of the knowledge of Sri Sushant sir, not only in these parameters, because whenever I interact, I do get a lot of knowledge from him. There are other subjects also, like DPCO is there. Then you have got a lot of amendments, rules and regulations which are coming up, like for medical devices, cosmetics, and what you call many other parameters also. So I mean, what I feel is that, sir, this is just a beginning, and as a educating program for all from the association side, definitely we'll be conducting more webinars like that, so that industry is benefited and all the doubts, apprehensions which are in the industry, because of which, because of the recent amendments, notifications which are coming back to back from the government side. You know, the last 2 years we must have seen approximately not less than around 50 to 60 notifications, changes, implementation, draft notification, what you call final notifications which have come up. So definitely, the legal point is also very much needed for as a guidance to the industry. So we look forward for your legal.
Definitely, I am available. I am available for it, not an issue at all.
And thank you very much, sir, sparing for your valuable time. And it is almost nearly for 2 hours. This webinar has gone, and this is one
Oh,
of the
I could not find out. अच्छा, really? 2 घंटे हो गए?
हाँ,
any webinar I have attended, I have seen that in the last 15 minutes, it is absolutely going to be very rushed to close the webinar. But somehow this webinar has gone for last 1 hour towards interactive session. So we can have more sessions, and where our young people can interact and industry can interact and again. Thank you very much, Sushant sir. And
So I will also like to give my thanks to all attendees who has taken out the time to attend this session. So, and providing me such an excellent wide platform to air my views on various aspects. So thank you so much.
yeah. Over to you, Neeraj.
Yeah, thank you, Sirish. Thank you, Shashanji, for wonderful talk and all attendee. If we so before we are coming to end here, some announcement. I request Dr. Pawan to announce our upcoming Indian Regulatory Summit. Pawan. Pawan, am I audible to you?
Actually, there are two Pawan here.
Dr.
Which Pawan
Pawan.
you are referring to? Okay.
Dr. Pawan.
Pawan has to unmute himself.
Okay, maybe he is not able to unmute himself. So here is one announcement from
No,
the
you have to unmute. You have to unmute Pawan.
Now,
You have to unmute Pawan ji.
yeah, because of similar name, yeah, Neeraj sir make host to Pawan sir, so it's fine. For announcement, I would like to request Rahul Mehrotra, our Joint Secretary, for our upcoming conference. Rahul sir, just unmute Rahul sir.
Rahul
He is there. Okay. So, sir, Pawan sir, I request you, can you make me a host?
Rahul is unmuted. Request sent.
Yeah, please. Pawan sir, can you make me host?
Yeah, Rahul sir, please.
So we would like to make you aware about our upcoming upcoming webinar, it's a physical and virtual quality summit 2010. It's a second Indian Regulatory and Quality Summit, which is having a focus on the new rules which has been published by FDA, that is CDSCO. So I request all the delegates and attendees, please mark this on your calendar. And right now we don't have any date because we are waiting for DCGI commitment on the same, as we are planning to make DCGI as a chief guest. So most probably on week 13 of 2021 this will be possible. So yes, in this regard, I will request all attendees. We have, as we are focusing on the new rules, but we are very keen to take your suggestions. If you have regarding insertion of any new topics, if you can give us, and we can insert it and make a session of that. And I request Sushant sir, your presentation was really
Yes, yes.
It's a really mind-blowing presentation. We haven't seen such in-depth and insight of particular topic as you have detailed us in a significant manner. And I request you to please make available for us also in the upcoming webinar. We will definitely give you a schedule before the this particular virtual and physical seminar of ARF and joint seminar of ARF and Indian Pharmaceutical Association. We will love to love to come on our platform and whatever topic you will say, it will definitely mind blowing and it will be really an honor for us. So thank you, sir, and hoping to see you soon physically. And this is an
Sure.
announcement I have to make. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you, Rahul ji.
So we conclude now?
Yes, thank you, Rahul. So we are concluding. So today we have a very interactive session, and we are learn lots of things from our presenter, Dr. Advocate Sushant ji. So we request him to come with us again and educate the industry's person and also the student who are with us in today's seminar. So as already shared with you, we are planning to conduct a second quality summit, and the date will be announced shortly, and you will get an update from our LinkedIn in profile as well as from the WhatsApp and from our website. So by this we are come to end and requesting you all to meet together in our second quality summit. So by this we are ending today's presentation. Thank you everyone for attending. Or in last, I request you all to fill the feedback form. That link is already shared in chat window. So you fill the Google Forms. We will share the e-certificate through the mail within 7 to 15 days.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for attending. So by this, we are ending today's session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Over हो गया, thank you. हो गया.